What's up? I'm expecting them to go today. We'll just have to see how they both feel as they're working their way back and recovering and all of the things. But yeah, certainly expecting them to play. Good. I think she was sore, of course. First game back, but I thought she played great. I thought she moved really well. I thought she looked confident in all of her movements. For us, having her back on the floor, just her communication, her defensive execution. It was just, it was a lot of fun having her back out there. Certainly, there's going to be, moments of up and down as we work through it, but thankful to have her back. Yes.
Coach, how do you build off momentum of Tuesday?
Good question. I think we have those conversations about, we have to play to our standard, no matter our opponent, no matter how many eyeballs are on the game. We always have to play to our standard. I mean, that's what championship caliber teams do. And so when there's not the same amount of external hype, we got to find the internal hype, and we got to find a way to make sure that we're sharp and to make sure that we're intentional about the details and make sure that our energy level is where it needs to be to win ball games.
Have you felt the reaction over the last couple of days of people who saw you guys for the first time reacting to what they saw on Tuesday?
Yeah, I certainly have. I mean, there are a lot of new fans in this league, certainly, and deservedly so. I'm excited about that. I think the realities of how good the players in this league are and how good this league is hits differently to people who haven't paid attention. But it is the reality. You're talking about the 144 best players in the world in one spot. And so for us, the opportunity for all of these new fans to see our all-stars, to see our team, I was happy for our team, happy for our organization, and hopefully they'll just continue to come back and continue to watch.
We'll go on Zoom. We'll start with Matt and then Andy.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Hey.
Two questions for you. The first is you ran a good amount of split action on Tuesday. Can you talk about the importance of a player like Alyssa Thomas who can just facilitate for you guys so well in that action at the top of the key?
Yeah, I mean, certainly when we were thinking about what we wanted to run offensively, having a player like her to be able to play multiple positions, to be able to facilitate from her position was a key in some of the things that we were putting in. The way we could space the floor, the players we had that could knock down shots, the players we had that were elite cutters to open things up for themselves or for others. Was really important that we put in a system that fit the personnel. And of course, the key person is Alyssa Thomas, and allowing her to play with the ball in her hands and use her as a point forward. We're going to utilize her a little bit more off the ball this year as well, especially with Breezy back on the floor. So adding a different layer to it. But I think that's where we want to go with the versatility of our team. Players playing multiple positions, different people initiating offense, different people getting into actions. It just makes it tougher to guard.
And then last thing, you mentioned in the broadcast the other night about wanting to flood the weak side a little bit better defensively. What's been the communication with the team? Is it just about defensive communication better? How have you been able to structure that a little bit more to prepare better for that tonight?
I mean, it's nothing more than just fundamental positioning, really. It's awareness. Oftentimes, as players, we get a little bit tunnel vision into our guy, right, and who we're checking and the things that they can do on the floor. But the priority always has been and always will be the ball. And so making sure that our initial positioning is correct first, and then adjusting. When the ball moves, we move. When our player moves, we move. So just more I think re-engaging the whole team defensive concept, particularly when you have a lot of weapons on the floor, as Indiana did, as Washington will, as almost every team that we have that we're going to play will. We've got to pay attention to all those details, but we still have to guard the ball.
Andy, go ahead.
Thanks so much. Hi, Stephanie. Andy Lipton. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. Hey, so in the game the other night, you guys obviously did a terrific job defending against Caitlin. But I thought she kind of helped you out a little bit by not cutting without the ball to the hoop much. She seemed more comfortable waiting for the ball when she didn't have it on the perimeter. I saw more of that last night in the game against New York. Do you think that's a function of the Indiana offense, or is that something that's inherent in her game?
No, I don't think it's a function of just the Indiana offense. Look, I mean, what she's done really well in college, she's going to continue to be able to do well here. You learn some of the other things that you haven't naturally done. Like there are lots of players who are naturally gifted at getting to the rim. And you can't be one-dimensional, right? So then they have to develop perimeter jump shots. You've got players who are really good at creating in the two-man with the ball in their hands. So when an opponent takes that away, like what is the next thing that you work on in your game? You got really gifted slashers, cutters. But again, like you can't just do one thing. And I think that her game has a lot of intricacies to it when she has the ball in her hands. But great teams and great defensive teams and great defensive players are going to force you to do something that's different. That's an acquired skill. It's continuing to work and grow on your game. This is not, and it's not new. We see it in every sport. You see it in every sport, in every rookie, and in every league. You just got to continue to grow, and what you've done well to get to that point is going to be really good, but it's not going to be enough to continue to be great. And I think that's the thing that, when I'm looking at all these things that people are talking about with Caitlin Clark, it's like, guys, chill out. Like, she's going to be fine. Like, it's 2 games in. Are you kidding me? She's a student of the game. She got better every year. You're not going to just absorb all of the new information that's coming at you in 2 games, in 2 weeks. It takes time. And she will. I have no doubt about it. She's a student of the game. She continues to get better. And these are also points that coaches then address. Hey, let's continue to work on this. But it's really hard to work on some of those things in season. So this might be an off-season thing, right? Let's continue to play to our strengths. Let's find different ways to get the ball to our players. And then when we get time in the off-season, then we'll work on that next step or that next level.
Appreciate
Go
that.
Maggie and then broadcasters if you have questions.
What do you see in this new look of theirs that you think would be the shot?
The way they space the floor, I mean, they're playing a lot of 5 out. They've got really great slashing guards who are good getting to the rim with the ball in their hands, who are excellent cutters without the basketball. So you got to stay incredibly disciplined. Their ability to get downhill, to open things up. They've got perimeter shooting from multiple players on the floor, including their post players. So spacing, recovery, closeouts, guarding our yard, not getting beat on first dribble is going to be really important. And their activity level to the offensive glass, keeping them off of the offensive glass is going to be key.
Brendan and Tarika.
Hey, Steph, what do you make of Brianna Jones, and where are you at now into a second game with her coming back, just the minutes, and how you want to manage that?
Yeah, I was really pleased with Breezy. I thought she looked great. I really felt her impact on the defensive end of the floor. You guys saw us a year ago. We just didn't have that body. We didn't have that person who had the ability to do multiple things in our 2-man defense like she does, to finish plays, the presence on the interior, even though you can see her timings just and her rhythm are still coming back. The things that she does that aren't obvious to the casual fan were huge for us. And so we'll continue working her back. She'll continue to be on a minutes restriction. Again, we're playing the long game. So hopefully she can continue to just build her endurance, begin to continue to build on her rhythm, her timing, and all of those things.
Did she clean up as much as you anticipated from a rebound? You talked about rebounding a lot in the preseason. In her minutes, you were reminded, like, okay, that's a big difference when she's out there.
I was really reminded of it in our pick and roll defense. I mean, quite honestly, just being in the right spot, not getting strung out on plays, being able to stop the ball at the point and allow us to recover, communicating at an elite level. The rebounding thing, I think, took care of itself. But for me, the pick and roll defense was the thing. It was like, oh my gosh, yes, we missed that.
Yeah, speaking of rebounding, that was something that you talked really heavily about coming into the season. What did you like about how your team crushed the boards, 30 boards on that day, and coming into tonight? Like, what are you preaching about making sure that they stay on top of that?
Our guards have to be better defensive rebounders. Our guards have to get in there. I mean, we need them to get 4 or 5 rebounds a ball game, every one of them. We can't run unless we have the ball. you know, we should be on the inside position to be able to go get it. Our post players are always going to have a heavy load keeping the opponent's post off the glass because, you know, there are great offensive rebounding bigs in our league. And so our guards have to be able to come in and clean things up. And, you know, the more that you're playing teams that like to take long shots, those long rebounds, our guards got to be able to get in there and get. Certainly AT is always going to be AT and do what she does. You know, Breezy's going to be able to as she works her way back to get some in there. You know, I think Liv did a good job as well. You know, DB I felt like was an excellent rebounder for us a year ago, but we need everybody else on the perimeter to get in there and get 4 or 5 a game.
As you mentioned, rebounding guards, just, you know, now having a couple of days behind you, just what do you make of your backcourt now, getting the first opportunities to start, just the way that they progressed from last year to this year? What are your thoughts right now on time?
Yeah, I'm really pleased. You know, that it was a big game for them to come out and you know, be ready to go. You know, Ty in the exhibition didn't shoot the ball especially well, so I was really proud of her stepping up and knocking shots down with confidence. She's going to get those, and we need her to take those and take them with confidence. You know, I thought that was for Dejanay, it was the most disciplined defensive game I've seen her play. And we need that from her because she is always going to be guarding, you know, the opponent's best perimeter player. So we need that from her. You know, she was excellent. And then what she gave us on the offensive end of the floor, you know, she is one of those gifted cutters. She's gifted at getting to the rim and starting to understand the timing of when to do that and how to best exploit the defense in that area. I think that she's continued to get better. More than anything for her, just being healthy and being able to be out there, it has been important for our team. And you see the impact that Rachel can make. She just knows how to play. You know, she's just got a good feel, a good understanding, good timing. You know, and as we work Mo back in, getting her back into rotation, get Tiffany Mitchell comfortable, you know, in offense is going to be important. You know, and I think that, you know, the good thing for us is we have a veteran group. And so continuing to just find ways to get each one of, especially our new players, but even our players who are getting to the starting lineup for the first time, just getting them comfortable and confident.
Kareem and then Emily.
Hey.
I know it's just one game on the sample size.
Yep.
But obviously, Tasha Cloud is just a running point for them for so long, and now Austin's criticizing it a little bit more. How do they look different to you with her kind of pushing point a little bit more?
Yeah, I think she's a scoring guard, right? So she's a combo guard. So she's somebody who, you know, Cloud is a facilitating guard. So she's looking to get people in the right spots and find different ways to get her teammates the ball. And you know, while she could score, you know, she was a natural point guard and set the tone on the defensive end, you know, with that toughness, you know, her versatility on D. I mean, I remember multiple times last year where she ended up matching up with AT because they didn't have anybody to match up with AT. You know, I think Sykes, you play her to score the basketball. You know, you don't necessarily play her for the pass. And so the way you might play her in a two-man, the way you play her when she goes to the rim in terms of rotations, you know, is important. You know, it's a transition for any, and she's an excellent player, there's no doubt about it, but it's a transition for any player when you've got the ball in your hands 94 feet a majority of the time. You're thinking about offense, you're thinking about how to get everybody in the right spots, you're thinking about what to run, and so sometimes it weighs a little heavier on the things that you do naturally. You know, so this is a team that's a work in progress. You can tell by some of the things they want to do on the offensive end, but you can see the flashes, right? You can see the moments where it's like, okay, they're going to be fine. They're just trying to figure it out right now. It reminds me a little bit of us early last year, where our timing may not have been quite right. Our reads might not have been, you know, quite there. We were getting to the next before we were taking care of the first. You know, our spacing wasn't always where it needed to be. But when it flows, it really flows. And I think that's what Washington looks like right now. So, you know, it's certainly going to be, it's going to be tonight too, but going to be a scary team when it like starts to really click for them. Has it been 10 days? I don't know if it's been 10 days. It feels like it's been like 4 practices.
I mean, just how is she coming along to anticipate needing more?
Yeah, no, she's doing really well. You know, the biggest thing for any player who comes in, because we do a lot of things, is just being able to pick up on terminology, our defensive execution first and foremost, you know, and then offensively after that, you know, what we're looking for, what our spacing looks like. It's not, your typical post player just going down to the block and standing there, right? Like the way we space, the screening that we use. So she's been doing a great job. You know, we don't have a big that has her blend of strength and athleticism, physicality, all of those things. So we're certainly going to need her. There's no doubt about that. You know, and depending upon what Liv looks like tonight, we might need her more tonight.
All right, last question on Zoom. Blake, go ahead.
Hey, Connecticut. I mean, y'all watch Aaliyah Edwards play for UConn. Obviously, what have you seen from her since you?
I love her physicality. You know, I think she's a player who comes in and who is already from a build and strength standpoint, WNBA ready. You know, she's going to bang inside. She's going to be able to get rebounds. She's going to attack and go strong to the rim. You know, you saw her develop that 15 to 17 foot jump shot throughout the course of her career at UConn. That's going to be something that she's continuing to develop. But her ability to face up and attack, her ability to play with the back to the basket, to defend at an elite level and rebound at an elite level. And she's terrific at getting out in transition and rim running. So we've got to be mindful of that as well.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.